Hello, welcome to my TED Talk. My name is Alex Dixon, and today we will be talking about how age and physical ability affects athletes. What we'll be focusing on are the effects that age and physical ability has on sports athletes as they age and the opinions of others on these targeted athletes. Athletes affected by age would be Vince Carter, Tom Brady, Roger Federer, Serena Williams, Tiger Woods, and Matt Cullen. All of these players are some of the oldest players to play their sport today, and all are currently playing besides Vince Carter, who retired at the age of 43 and is known as one of the oldest players to play in the NBA. Athletes affected by physical ability would be Derrick Rose, Andrew Luck, Herb Score, Dante Culpepper, Earl Campbell, Bo Jackson, and Bobby Orr. All these players are retired other than Derrick Rose, and Derrick Rose was lucky enough, with the technology advancements today, they were able to repair both of his ACL injuries to put him back at full capacity, and now he is currently playing after suffering all those injuries. All the other players besides Andrew Luck had to retire due to injuries because the technology advancements were very poor back in those days, resulting in them having to retire due to injuries. How does aging affect performance? Age gap plays a huge role when it comes to sports because older athletes are not able to keep up with the performance and stamina of younger athletes, which puts older athletes further behind. An athlete's peak performance is called the sweet spot, and after the age of 30, you start to degress in your performance and you are not as good as what you once was. The sweet spot or peak performance is in between the mid-20s and the early 30s of an athlete. Once you reach a certain age, your priorities change. And instead of being competitive, you become more family-oriented and want to spend more time with your family and your children and focus on something that's not sports, which makes older athletes not as competitive as they did during their peak performance days. How does physical ability affect performance? With age, you get a depletion of cells that repair and grow skeletal muscle, making it hard for them to keep up the youth, which also can result in injuries. With age, our bodies can't use oxygen efficiently, which makes older athletes tire out quicker, which also results in younger athletes overtaking older athletes. Fast twitch muscle fibers that are responsible for strength and power decreases also as people age. As you age, your metabolic changes, resulting in muscle loss and fat gain, which makes the athlete less athletic. With aging after the age of 25, it starts to become harder to balance due to the wear and tear of the visual, vestibular, and somatosensory systems. The decrease in injuries as medical technology advances. As we can see here, in 2007, the injury incident per 100 players was decently high compared to what it is today in 2020, 2021. You can see a huge decrease in basketball injuries from 2007 to 2020. And there is also a decrease in the baseball and football and hockey. The opinions of older athletes. One example would be the discrimination Vince Carter received for playing in the NBA till he was 43. He had a love and passion for the sport, and he did not want to give it up, but people hated that because they thought he was just trying to steal the spotlight, and that his time was up, and that he needed to leave so that younger athletes could take over his historic position. Tom Brady faced discrimination when people expected him to retire due to age after he left New England, but he proved them all wrong by winning another Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. and prove to everybody that even though he's up in his 40s, he can still play like he did in his prime. LeBron James has faced discrimination for his age. People have been saying he's been washed up for years. When LeBron was known as the greatest player in the world, people are starting to take that back and trying to find new athletes to take the role as the greatest basketball player in the world. LeBron proved them all wrong by winning an NBA title with the Lakers, and after he won the title, he asked everyone to put respect on his name because he is the best in the world at this moment of active players. Technology advances in sports medicine. Sports genetics. It helps analyze DNA of athletes to show if the athlete is prone to injuries or medical conditions. Video technology. This allows teams and coaches and players to find weaknesses and mistakes to consider when training, to focus on either ankles, shoulders, or lower back to prevent injury. Respiratory monitoring helps track heart rate and blood oxygen percentage and to find underlying problems before it hurts the athlete, which also can help prevent heart attacks, blood clots, and anything in athletes. Sleep monitoring helps find players' sleep patterns to determine if they're getting enough sleep and how they are sleeping bad and ways to fix it so that the player has energy to continue playing. 3D scans is used to find problems in athletes' muscles so they can fix the problem before players get severely hurt. Technology for mental stimulation. It is used to analyze athletes' focus and coordination and precision to make sure they are still at a maintained health. So after all that we have discussed, I hope you realize how much age and physical ability play a huge role in sports and how it can determine the career of an athlete and if it's time for the player to retire or they are forced to retire due to medical conditions. Thank you all for listening to my TED Talk.